teacher. You saw her earlier at Standup Academy. She was one of the New York Post's funniest people in America.
Let's give it up for Bobby Oliver. I want my child to become a comedian. Yeah, so I've started to neglect her. I have planned a rigorous program of harsh criticism and mixed messages. She's gonna be fucking hilarious.
I've been doing comedy 24 of my 44 years. I'm a great comedy teacher. I feel like I've been given a gift. 700 comedians have now studied with me.
Whatever your strengths or weaknesses in stand-up, she will figure them out instantly and she will work to your advantage.
There are 2 showcases at the end of this, and you will be in one of them. They are at Flappers Comedy Club in Burbank on their main stage.
My name is Hannah Aliza White Michaels. Apparently it's easier than tattooing Jew right here.
To me, Hannah is brave and funny and genuine, kind of bratty. I'm a feminist and Hannah's a feminist, and I almost kind of feel in a way like she's my child.
I don't really know about myself because I'm 24. After some of my material, I feel like I'm setting myself up to get murdered.
I would do a half a beat where you say, to get murdered or whatever, setting me up to get murdered. I think my act is setting me up to get murdered. We don't think you're gonna say to get murdered, we think you're gonna say anything else. And so the hesitation before it lets us in our mind think you're gonna say, to get heckled or to get hit on after the show or whatever, but to get murdered, we don't see that kind of thing. Even though she's funny, she's got that humility, and she takes the feedback and she says, okay, well let me try it this way, or let me try it that way. Okay, so each person's going to tell me something about yourself.
My name is Axel Denny. I am a student, second year at Cal Poly Florida. I'm the youngest out of this whole group of comedians. Going through the sessions and writing jokes that I think would get laughs, and then it totally bombs and you're like, well shit. And then she gives you advice and then you work on it. During the summer, I went to this concert. They were selling these maps. You couldn't really see through the islets. I was dancing and everything, but all of a sudden, I feel my fist make contact with something. I tear the mask off, and I realize that I just punched a cop in the face.
So, you're very likable. You're very likable from the get-go.
I absolutely hate going to the gym. There's always these huge, beefed out guys all around. And then in the midst of them you have me. It really sucks when I go to grab a 100-pound dumbbell off the rack and I can't even lift it up. And then I have to do the male walk of shame all the way over to 25. That's all I know.
So for you at this point, it's about delivery, and it's about making, you have a melody of speaking, but you don't want all of your jokes to fit your melody of speaking. You want your way of speaking to conform to the best way to deliver that joke.
I don't know if I told you, but I didn't get into the talent show. I think they chose all musicians.
Oh, well, fuck them.
Bastards.
But you still kicked ass, right?
When I went, there was 4 judges. There was 3 college students who laughed their asses off, and 1 person who was I'd say in their 50s, and just glared at me. So.
Those old people.
Now we're gonna play video games. Same thing.
We have sex, they're gonna play video games.
Oh, I gotta stick with me. Well, that
We'll have sex and play video games at the same time.
really cool.
You watched all the fire.
I first met Hannah. She was one of the first people I actually became friends with when I started doing Standup Academy. And she actually has helped me out a lot. She was the first person to basically force me to do a Dave's Chillin' and Growin', because I went and I wasn't going to perform, I was just going to watch.
Open mic nights are huge for comedians because we have to be working new material. If you decide halfway through that you want to get on the list, we'll put you on the list.
And then she made fun of me, told me to do it, so I said fine, and I ended up, and that's when I took the first step into actually taking comedy more seriously. She's definitely come a long way from when I first saw her too, but out of all the comics I've met, and besides Bobby, she's one of the people who influenced me the most.
Oh Christ! I love when people respond to that feedback. Oh Christ!
All over my face was verbatim. I should beat your ass right now, boy. I explained my case with the isolate situation, and he stared at me for a good 2 minutes. Then he finally said, when you close your eyes and go to sleep tonight, you thank God Officer John was a pastor. I don't know what the fuck that meant. When I went to sleep that night, I prayed after a really long time.
What do you mean after a really long time?
It was the first time I prayed.
Oh, that was confusing. That was confusing, right?
Yeah.
But you don't even have to tell us how much. Just be like, we get that you don't pray. We have eyes. Okay? So just say, I prayed, that I prayed my ass off that night. How about that?
When you close your eyes to go to sleep tonight, you thank God Officer John was a pastor. I don't know what the fuck that meant, but I prayed my ass off. It was the scariest moment in my life. He was huge and had the thickest mustache. I literally thought I was gonna get it.
You got away with it.
You hit a cop in the face.
I can say that now. Fuck the system.
How many people can say they should
Yeah,
punch the cop in the
I
face?
got away with it.
You were better on the inflections today, but you were a little too fast. When you got to this one point, then you really kind of started feeling it when you said, in the face, or whatever was it? I punched a cop in the face. That's when you kind of started making it your own, but before that it was you were kind of just telling a story. And these jokes are very funny. They've gotten really tight. And all the places you took the feedback, thank you. And it shows.
Because now I have a good set, I just need to work on delivery.
My name is John Doty. One door has to close for another one to open, and right now, the door is closing.
The most interesting thing about John is, I think, it's that he's kind of dark. Like, he kind of has this edge to him.
I got a problem with being kind of soft. You're not just here, but soft in terms of going for things.
When you said I'm soft, not just here, where did you point?
My stomach.
Oh, okay. Because there might be a dick joke in there somewhere.
Right.
There might be no, not here. Just because, I don't know, if you're going to say you're soft on stage, it just makes everyone think about your dick.
I thought about his dick.
Okay, good.
I thought about your dick.
Raise your hand if you thought.
Awkward. I grew up in Southern California, in the hometown of President Richard Nixon. And my dad always used to say, they can't lick our dick.
John, lick our dick, down inflection. That's hilarious.
And then just a sec, you actually didn't say Whittier this time. You said Southern California. We all knew Whittier because we've heard it, Whittier.
But it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Yeah,
but that's where Nixon's from, is Whittier.
nobody knows.
Right.
Nobody.
Never mind.
Why don't you save everything you have to say until I finish saying what I have to say?
My name is Lyndon.
Annoying thing about Lyndon is that he interrupts me in class all the time. I'm in the middle of giving feedback to someone else and he's giving them notes on jokes.
I don't want to sound like a complete jackass. For me, the writing part was actually fairly easy.
Lyndon seems to believe that he's on a panel of experts with Bobby. I guess he got a little big for his britches.
Daddy, I can't read the temperature, but it says on here, number 2, firm. And I looked at him and said, give me that pencil. The hell, number 2, firm? Honey, what? When you took the dog out earlier today, what was the dog's poo look like? What was it? No, I can't do it. Damn, I'm having trouble with my poor voice.
The performance part, that's the part that was by far the most difficult.
That was your first time ever, right? Yay, you're not a virgin anymore. You don't feel like you have to do the voices. In fact, doing a voice that sounds unnatural is actually going to kind of hurt your story more than it's going to help. A really annoying thing about Lyndon is that he never took any of my notes. He never takes my notes.
I don't know what the poo looked like. The poo looked solid.
Well, I think the most interesting thing about Lyndon is that he's always so upbeat and so happy. I wanted to ask him if I could have some of what he's on. No heckler. No Republicans, no hecklers.
What time? Hey,
Ooh, I love it. Are you a Republican?
you did that at the very first.
I don't like
You
Republicans.
actually pointed at me.
This is a place where you can say whatever you want. And you need to keep in mind, this is very key, comedy is offensive. Okay? We are going to offend each other in this class. We are going to say things that irritate each other, to downright piss each other off.
You use like examples like you could be like a guy or a girl. You use an example and you play around or you could be a Republican. I thought, how did I just get pointed at?
Are you a Republican?
Yes, of course.
What do you mean, of course?
Of course.
Because you're white? You're a white male?
Right, I was the older white male and you pointed right at me. You said, "Oh, Republican."
Older. Looking at you as older.
Person should just be in the audience limit. I don't know, he rubbed me the wrong way.
You're not a Republican.
I'm independent.
Ew. Choose a side.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be shouted down for fucking shit.
But the process is a lot harder than I ever thought it was going to be.
So, today is the last day of class. Oh, yay. Oh.
I'm just freaking out about the show already. Having nightmares. After you forget everything you're saying. I am.
It takes a lot of guts to get on stage in front of people and do comedy, seriously.
For every show, I live in fear of the Tourette's that I don't have. I'm so scared that I'm just going to reveal something humiliating that I don't want to reveal.
So my name's Hannah.
I'm worried that I will not sound natural, that I will forget certain words.
Dogs take after their owners. Like my aunt's dog is kind of paranoid and skittish, and my grandma's dog is dead.
I felt pretty good when I got my first laugh. I was pretty relieved that this audience was capable of laughter.
When guys find out that you can speak a foreign language, they always want you to say something sexy. I speak Hebrew. It is impossible to sound sexy in Hebrew. I've tried it.
You know, I think Hannah Michaels is someone to watch.
Thoughts are always annoying me. They're always like, they're laughing at you, not with you. You'll go to jail if you stab that guy.
The most interesting thing about Hannah is that she's a sleeper cell. You know, she started off very kind of quiet.
I don't have sex with a lot of younger guys. Not because I don't find them attractive, believe me. But because with younger guys, there's a distinct possibility that when they come, they'll shout YOLO.
She puts the joke above her ego, which is what a lot of comedians can't do.
This one guy and I had an agreement, and so instead he's gonna shout, "Ewan McGregor, circa Velvet Goldmine or earlier!" Had mine done.
My parents saw me and walked out when I went to ask them how it went.
Truth is, I've never had a guy say anything as bad as YOLO when he orgasms. The worst I've dealt with is fire photon torpedoes.
I think Hannah did great in her showcase. I was really impressed with her.
Thanks, you guys.
This is what I want to do. I'm looking forward to a very lucrative career.
I rehearsed my lines, I've got them in the cars, and did some breathing exercise. Bobby recommends that, so.
Hey, clappers, what's going on tonight? Isn't this a special occasion?
I suppose the worst thing that could happen would be to totally blank me and fumble around. Not really worried about not being funny, just as long as I look good.
When I reached the age of reason, 7, my dad gave me the sex talk. John, don't play with it. It's not a toy. Looking back, it turns out he was right. It's so much better than that.
my daughter's here tonight. She's my biggest supporter.
I did a search and I found a 2-item survey at pornhelp.nut. Question 1. Has pornography cost you any relationships? No. I don't have any. Question 2. Has pornography cost you a job? No. Don't have one.
You know, I think John is going to look back on this this moment and really remember it as a high point in his life.
Plug it, submit. The windows just started popping up all over the place. Congratulations, you are not a porn addict. Lock and lube.
He came to this at a time when things were kind of odd for him, his circumstances, and he really just, became a comedian.
I grew up in Southern California, in the hometown of President Richard Nixon. My dad loved to say, "They can't lick our dick." Now that made me feel a little bit weird because I'm Catholic.
It is something that I do enjoy. I've tried some other things that are very difficult. Maybe next after this, if this doesn't work out, magic would be the last.
Thank you very much. I'm John Doty. Enjoy your evening.
A lot of the people in my class said they didn't necessarily want to be a full-time comedian, but they wanted to go through the process, and that's the same with me.
My name is Lyndon Thomas.
I watch some of the other comics, and as they, kind of stutter a little bit, as is human nature, we all do, and then I start getting real nervous.
Last night I was watching television. The first program I watched was Hoarders. It shows some big heavy-set guy hobbling around his crappy house with 27 of the exact same VCRs.
I know I wanted to go slower, but I can't really bring myself to go slower.
Biggest Loser. So I'm thinking, if these shows just work together, they can fix all their problems. The only reason the meth user is at the intervention, he ran out of VCRs to sell. You let him loose in that hoarder's house, problem solved.
I really liked when I got my first laugh.
To me, Lyndon is someone who is really funny in his peer group and at parties and out in the real world.
So those hoarders in their crappy houses, they sleep on stacks of their precious TV guides. Why can't they hoard, good quality bedding? Or decent clothing? Or exercise equipment? Well, I guess that show would be called Real Housewives of New Jersey.
He starts telling really old time, like the kind of joke where it's implied that the man's the doctor and the woman's the nurse. You don't have to ask; it's just obvious. So, Lyndon.
Oh, I'm such a shoe hoarder. I've got so many shoes. That was my New Jersey accent. Yes, you had the first part right. You're a whore. You apparently accept shoes as your currency. I can't imagine that's a sustainable business model.
I didn't mind Lyndon too much. I guess we shared a bond. Older white guys.
And the worst place to go after the bars close, thank you very much, is Jack in the Box. He's right. It is. And I'll tell you why. Anybody in ordering those greasy ass tacos in the middle of the night has been drinking.
I think he could have paused more. I think he, really, could have slowed down a bit and been a little more conversational than presentational.
Before the show, I was texting Hannah, I'm nervous. What do you have advice? She's just like, calm down, you'll kill it. I'm mostly worried about not going over 5 minutes. If you go over 5 minutes, everyone here is gonna hate you pretty much, and that's not cool. Because comedians, it even says right there, respect the light, bitches. It says right there. Ever since I was little, I honestly wanted to do stand-up comedy.
How's it going, guys?
I memorized my set, but I had to pull out my note card about 3 times because I blanked out completely, so I'm a little nervous that'll happen.
I went to this electronic dance festival. No, excuse me.
In the beginning, I fucked up really badly. I choked really hard. What I didn't want to do happened.
Don't worry about it.
It was me pulling the note card, and I had to do that.
My dad is this extremely old-fashioned type of Indian. He always likes to talk to me about arranged marriages.
It's extremely nerve-wracking.
Axel, you can fool around with any girl you want, but when it comes to marriage, I get to choose your wife. I'm mildly terrified that this bullshit is true.
When I got that first laugh, it was a lot calming. When I started getting in the rhythm of it.
I really want to mess with him one day and be like, Dad, I'm gay! The only problem is I know he'll be like, oh, I get to choose your husband.
I feel like that's the thing comedians need, is to hear that first laugh, and then they'll start rolling with their act and their set. But it's just that hardest part is starting it.
During the summer, I went to this music festival. The venue was selling these masks that were extremely shitty. You couldn't really see through the eye slits. So instinctively, I bought one. I put it on. My friends and I were located at the front against the gates, and the performers came on, so we started dancing and doing our thing, you know? When all of a sudden, I feel my fist make contact with something. I tore off my mask, and I realized that I had just punched a cop. In the fucking face! He got all up in my face and threatened to arrest me, and I explained my case with the eye holes. He looked at me for a good 2 minutes and finally said, when you close your eyes to go to sleep tonight, you thank God Officer John was a pastor. I don't know what the fuck that means, but I prayed my ass off.
Like, it went extremely well, but I just can't help beating myself up right now, you know?
You guys ever give out your phone number to someone you don't really want to? I just give them the wrong number. It really sucks though when they're like, oh, can you repeat that?
Other than those first 10 seconds, I killed. Like, the audience was laughing at everything I was saying, and there was a point where I literally had to stop for 6-7 seconds to let them finish laughing.
Thank you guys. You guys have been an amazing audience.
I mean, I've learned that I've got balls to do this.
Everybody come up here, let's take a picture. Thanks for coming out. Good night, everyone.
I love y'all. It's been a great 8 weeks, and I hope to see some of you back here very soon.